Michael Nagy here with Jiggy Jag TV and DiscoveringBands.com. And for everyone watching, if you could share this video on my channel and help support the awesome bands I feature. And today I'm here with Black Angel. How you doing today?
I'm good. How you doing, Michael? Thanks for having us on your show.
Yeah, it's good to have you. You want to start off by giving us a little history about the band?
Yeah, sure. So I'm an English musician and producer. I basically grew up in the 80s listening to goth bands like the Sisters of Mercy, Bauhaus, The Cult, The Damned. It was my brother. He got me into it when I was like, about 13. He gave me, we're back in the days of cassette tapes now. And he had a Clash tape with Give 'Em Enough Rope on it, that one of their albums. And at the time I was kind of into Duran Duran and all the new romantic stuff, which was awesome, and I still love all that stuff now. But it just opened up a complete new genre of music to me, and I got completely into it. And I spent a lot of times in the 80s just, being into goth music. So that was kind of the 80s, and then through the 90s and 2000s, I just kind of, cause I work in Hollywood. I'm a mixer for a big studio. I also, I still produce, and I was doing other electronic projects, which were great, but I wasn't really doing it for the right reasons. And then a couple of years ago, I kind of got bored with the whole thing, and I just started going back to the music I used to listen to, which was the 80s goth music. And I put down all my computers. We're here now in my studio, the Manor in LA. And I put down all the computers, I picked up the guitars, and that's how our first album, The Widow, was spawned from that. And we had, nice sort of press and a nice reaction to the album, especially on Bandcamp. Bandcamp has been our total, savior. It's, people on there, they want to buy music. They like listening to music. They're like looking for music, and they like buying physical merchandise. These days we're sucked into this whole streaming thing where it's just, I think, totally sort of faceless. I remember as a kid, you pick up a gatefold album and it's a tactile object, and you put on the first side, you listen to it, you read the lyrics, you hold it, you flip it over, and it's kind of a journey, which is what I think the bands want you to do. And then over the last couple of decades, it just turns into this, this sort of faceless experience of just downloading files to your phone and stuff. I get it. It's convenient. It's easy. It gives you instant access, but it also makes things extremely disposable. And the good thing about Bandcamp is people want to go on there and search out new music, look, buy merchandise, buy CDs, buy vinyl. That for us is just perfect. We start building a fan base because people really want to listen to the music. So from after doing the first album, The Widow, that pushed us on to doing our latest release, which we released a couple of weeks ago, called Kiss of Death. And again, it's being received really well, and we're just trying to get the word out there.
Can you tell us a little more about the album, some of the themes, and what the album's about? The new record?
This one is a little bit more traditional goth rock, definitely influenced more by bands that I love, Sisters of Mercy and The Cult. So it goes a little bit more down that road. But they're all, it's typical goth. And when I say goth, I grew up in the, like say in the 80s, where goth was maybe slightly different. We didn't maybe take things kind of too seriously. It was just about the music and the energy of the music. And, I guess the dressing up and stuff as well. But it was all a little bit cliche, bit tongue in cheek, little bit camp, but just people just were into it. So I wanted to try and relive some of that stuff with this album, and I wanted to make sure I didn't want to do a carbon copy of those bands and what they were doing, but I wanted to take elements of them and kind of shape the Kiss of Death record in that direction, so that when people immediately hear it, they get, they instantly get that vibe, and well, hopefully get that vibe of what they heard, back then. So yeah, that's really what it is. It's a 10-track album. Most of it's goth rock. There's a few little bits of psychobilly influence in there from the Cramps and the Meteors, but it's pretty, it's good high energy, and I think it turned out pretty good.
Now, you've been part of the goth scene for many decades now. How would you say the scene and the music has changed over time?
Like I say, it's I think just the whole terminology of goth is changed. If you look up goth now on Instagram, it's normally girls with blue hair, which is, it's cool. Things do change. And I think there's just, if you look online, there's always arguments about, what does goth really mean? I don't think it really matters. You know, for me, it's just a word that suggests a particular style of music, maybe a particular dress code that people like to, you know, adhere to. So for me, it's just all about the music and listening to those bands and just kind of getting that feel and vibe that I heard when I heard those, you know, when I heard those bands all those years ago.
And how did you come up with the name Black Angel for the project?
So yeah, Black Angel. I know there is a Black Angels out there, but you know the world, the music world is so vast these days. You know, you go on iTunes or Spotify, and half of those bands, you know, all the bands you see, you may have never even, you know, heard of before. It's so completely vast. I mean, the whole streaming experience now. It's, you know, the way the music industry changed, and now it's all streaming. It's the market is so oversaturated with music, which is kind of good and bad. You know, the good is you or I, anybody, they can write something, they can get it distributed. They can have on iTunes next to Taylor Swift or Beyonce, you know, in a week. So for that, it's awesome for upcoming, you know, musicians. The bad thing is everybody can do it, and it's totally oversaturated. And I think the good stuff has trouble rising to the top or getting, you know, getting exposure. So yeah, going back to your question, yeah, there are a lot of kind of Black Angels out there. For me, it's a personal thing. I'm a huge fan of the Cult. They had an album out in the 80s, and called Love, which I think is their best album, their best produced album. Albums back then, again, things have just changed. I don't necessarily think it makes me sound old or dated, but the recording techniques back in the 80s, you know, it was a room with an engineer and just limited equipment. And the sound that they created was just amazing. Whereas now, a lot of it is press a button and spit something out the side. And I'm totally, I totally do that too, you know, when I need to. But anyway, there was a track on there called Black Angel by the Cult on the Love album, which if you get a chance to listen to it, definitely listen to it. And that's what basically influenced the name.
And what are you currently working on now? What do you have planned in the future?
So right now we're just starting our third album. It's going to be called Prince of Darkness. It'll be along the same vein as the last two albums, just continuing with the gothic rock theme. So for right now, we're just, you know, trying to promote and publicize this current album, Kiss of Death. But as soon as that sort of tails off in the next couple of months, we'll be back in the studio working on the next album, which I'm really, really looking forward to.
Now, if people want to find you online, look you up, get your music on social media, how do they do that?
So yeah, we're totally out there on all the streaming services with Spotify and iTunes. You know, I'm saying bad things about streaming, but you know, we've all got to be kind of part of it. So you know, to give everybody access. So yeah, our stuff's on iTunes, it's on Spotify, but for us, the best place to go is Bandcamp for sure. You know, you can either go to our website directly and follow links there, or go to Bandcamp. It has our discography on there, you know, our 2 albums and all the singles we've released, any videos and merchandise. So that's definitely the best place to go find us.
And I want to ask, how have you handled the whole quarantine time?
I am in a very fortunate position. I have this beautiful studio in my house. So for me, I just get up, wander into the studio, start working. Most of the people I work work remotely, so it's not been a problem having that kind of social distancing. At the back of the studio, which you can't see, there's like a clean room, so people can come in, and we just talk, you know, through video conferencing, and they can come in and record vocals, so we can do that. But a lot of the people I've been working with on the vocal side, like our new singer Corey Landis, who did a really good job on this album, he recorded the whole thing remotely. He sent everything to me. I would cut and track everything in, and then he would just do pickups for me. So the whole COVID thing for us is not been a problem in terms of album production. It would be nice to do some live stuff, for the to promote this album. Obviously not possible, and I definitely feel for a lot of people out there who depend a lot more on the being on the live circuit and shows. It's got to be tough for those people, especially if they'd organized tours and they were about to start. And for the fans too, for the fans of all those bands, it's got to be tough. But this is going to be with us a while, so I think everyone's trying to find a workaround, right now. But for me personally, thankfully, the COVID thing is not affected, Black Angel at all, which has been great.
Yeah, it's good to hear.
Yeah.
Well, it's good talking with you and having you, and everyone split them up.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time, Michael. Yeah, I'm sure all the links will be, put in there and stuff. And yeah, appreciate you getting on this call with us.